Welcome back to CS195 Web Development. This is week 5 CSS fonts. We're on the more CSS text property lessons. And if you look at this, the last thing we went over was font style and weight. Again, most of these are just little pieces as long as you know what the property is, font style, font weight, or even you could just Google it. If you want to know what bold is, just go to Google CSS bold. All right. But font style allows you to do italic, font weight allows you to do bold. So this lesson we're going to understand text decoration, line height, and text align. All right, so our success criteria, being able to add a rule that can add an underline to a text element. So let's go ahead and watch the video from Khan and then we'll try it out, these properties ourselves.
Listen, folks, the CSS text properties are never ending. Let me show you a few more. What if I want to change the spacing between the lines in my song lyrics? I could use the line height property and specify something like 15 pixels, or maybe better would be 1.5 m, and that makes the line height 150% of whatever the text size was. Now, what if I want my song lyrics to be center aligned? I could use the text align property and specify center. I could also change it to right or justify, though I think that would look a bit odd. What if I want to underline my main paragraph? I could use the text decoration property and specify underline. What if I want to remove the underline from my links, like that link to Wikipedia? Well, the browser has a default set of styles it applies to everything, like text decoration underline for links. But we can use CSS to override the browser's default styles and say text decoration none. Just add this rule here, a text decoration none. And you see now it's no longer underlined. But we should be careful when we do that because the defaults are usually picked for a reason. If links aren't underlined, how will people know that they're links? What if they never click them because they think they're just normal text? If we do remove that underline, we should be making sure that the links look significantly different in some other way. Otherwise, we'll make users sad, and sad users make me sad. They should make you sad too. I could tell you about text properties all day, but I won't because we have so much more to cover. There are hundreds of CSS properties, and browsers are adding more every year. I probably won't ever tell you about all of them, but hopefully I can tell you enough to get you excited. And then if you're wondering if there's a CSS property for some style and it's not in our documentation here, you can just visit your local search engine and find out.
So we're going to spend much time on that. It basically goes over, again, go search if you want to be able to, how do I make the text do this? How do I make this? Use a little Google search. One thing I do want to point out before we go on is notice how she had to apply it directly to the A tag. Doesn't matter if you put this in a paragraph tag or a div or whatever else you want to do, whatever you put this in, it doesn't matter. You have to apply it directly to the A tag. Now, you don't have to select by A tag. You can give it an ID or a class and remove it, but it does have to be directly to the A tag. So let's go ahead and try these out real quick. And I'm going to reset this because I think it's saved. Yep, it's saved from the last one. So let's go ahead and full screen this. Alright, so we're going to do a couple things. I'm going to add an A tag here. So A, click me or else. I always spell else too fast. And again, remember you have to give it actually where it's going. So href equals quotes, and then you type in if it's a link. Remember HTTPS you need. If it's just another page on thing, about.html. But now we have a link there we can modify. So let's go ahead. If you don't have enough space, if your text is not wrapping, you can just copy this a few extra times. And that'll give you, hopefully, so it repeats. Because the first thing we're going to do is line height. So we're going to select this by its ID. So remember, to select an ID, it's hashtag H2, squiggly bracket, enter. And then I'm going to backspace this because that's not pretty. So she said line dash height colon, again it turned purple so I spelled height wrong, and let's do 20px, and you can see that actually made it smaller, right? Made it smaller, which is why she said 1.5 EM kind of is a little bit more safe, because you don't actually know what the size of the font is. So you say, hey, I just want it further about using EM is a little bit safer to do. All right, to underline, text decoration, underline. Poof, now it's underlined. And then if we want to center it, text align center. So it's important to understand how this works, and we're about to, and we already went over divs and stuff. So it's going to center on the object that it's in, right? So if we gave this a width, and we'll go over width really soon, but if we gave this a width of 50%, again, it's centered on that 50% that it is. So be cognizant of that as you start going into formatting and moving objects around, alignment, whatnot. Do realize when you do width and stuff and center, it's all about the object that it's in. All right, last thing we're going to do, again, we're just going to select the A tag, but again, you could give it an idea class. And we're going to do the text decoration, text dash decoration, none, and that's how we get rid of that. We can't do body, right? Again, even though it's in the body, it doesn't matter, right? You have to actually select that A tag directly, or the A tag just adds it back because that's the default for the A tag. All right, that's it for this lesson. We did our text decoration, which can underline it. You can also remove underline from URLs if you need to. But as she pointed out, if I also make this color black, you're not necessarily going to know that you can click on that other than when you hover over it. Then we talked about text align center, and again, knowing it's important to understand that it centers on whatever it's inside of. And finally, and I don't use this very often, but there's line height. And in conclusion, there's way, way, way more. So Google's your buddy. Go out there, find it. And there's probably a way you want to do something. You can probably do it. With that, we'll see you next lesson.